So the doorbell rang, and I was really excited because I was expecting a package. It was a package of grass-fed meats. But I opened the door, and it turns out I had two packages. The second one was from Utah. It was a box of chocolates. And I was like, what is this? Like, I have not ordered a box of chocolates. I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to lose weight. Well, it turns out that a coworker from Utah, a remote employee that I'd never met before, had sent it to me because of acts of kindness that I'd given him over the course of that year. And I remember feeling so moved because the last thing that I was expecting was getting a box of chocolates. I was at my day job, my mind was on tasks I had to get done, the hustle and bustle of the job. So I was really moved. And I ended up posting about this on Instagram, and I said, hey guys, I got a box of chocolates, and it was because of acts of kindness given. Who wants to go on a 10-day acts of kindness challenge with me? And, I got crickets, as usual. So I was like, well, maybe I'm not going to go on this challenge because it's going to take energy, it's going to take effort. By nature, I'm very self-focused. I can be very self-focused, and I like staying in my bubble and my comfort zone. So I was like, I'm not going to do it. But then I started to think more, and I was like, well, if I'm going to post about this, then maybe I should model, what I'm posting about. So I started this 10-day acts of kindness challenge, and here are the 10 things that I ended up doing over the course of those 10 days. Number 1, I forgave a team member for failing a task. Usually by default, I would get really frustrated and project that frustration, but I decided to listen and I offered him help. Number 2, I gave the top performers on my team shout outs, essentially recognition across the entire team to recognize their excellence. Number 3, I took out the trash for my aunt because nobody else would. Number 4, I donated $100 for a cause I cared about. Number 5, I offered to buy and review an indie author's book. I knew that would make a really big difference. Me being an indie author myself, when you don't have a big platform, and people review your book and buy it, it can make such a big difference. So number 6, paid for the person's groceries behind me. Number 7, I gave my readers a thank you video. Number 8, I gave a homeless man coins. Number 9, I publicly praised a friend on a podcast. And number 10, I sent a local city department a thank you card and a gift. I ended up ending my Acts of Kindness 10-day challenge yesterday, and I did some reflecting, and I realized that this is something I think I do want to continue to do, but not in public. I want to do it in private. Again, I'm not your natural, how can I, make somebody's day and, give money and do acts of kindness. I'm really not like that by nature, but it really changed the quality of those 10 days and just made me feel happier. It made me feel like a better person. I even felt more confident. I felt more confident in going after the goals and dreams that, I kept emotionally yo-yoing about all year. But above all, I think it gave me the opportunity to possibly transform somebody else's life, or at least be a hero in their life. And as I was reflecting, it made me think about all the acts of kindness that I'd given in the years prior, here and there, and the lessons that taught me. So here are the 3 things that this has taught me. So number 1, when you give an act of kindness, you do potentially position yourself as being a hero in somebody else's life. I remember, in 2015, I just graduated from undergrad and had this short, awkward period of time over the summer where I had to, do something in preparation for my grad classes that would start in the fall. Needed to start, finding a job, making some money in the meantime. So I ended up working at Dunkin' Donuts. It was the first time I'd worked at a fast food restaurant. As summer passed by, started to get a little bit more bold. So my manager left at about noon. So I would usually work the afternoon night shift with somebody else. And at night, every night, we would toss out all the food that we'd made. And the reason why, I'd asked, well, can't we donate it to somebody? It's food. But they explained that we couldn't because another fast food restaurant or another fast food chain had done that and had donated to, I believe, homeless people. But somebody had ended up getting sick and suing that company. So Dunkin' was like, for liability reasons, we don't do that. Well, I was really bummed out. I'm like, well, every night we're throwing away all this food. So what I ended up doing, as I was getting more bold, is after my manager would leave, there was this one time in the afternoon, this woman came inside to the cashier and she gave me an order, and I ended up giving her an extra entire blueberry muffin, and I put it in the bag, gave it to her, and I said, hey, I just want you to have this extra muffin. You'd be surprised how much one blueberry muffin can like change somebody's life. She was just bursting with joy and like emotion. She was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. That's the nicest thing anybody's done for me all day. And it was so funny, and it was amazing. It made me feel good, it made me feel like a hero. So what I ended up doing, as the end of summer came, was I just ended up giving out, as towards the end of the day, a free something here and there. Just people were so happy by that. So if we, us giving a muffin to somebody makes somebody so freaking happy at Dunkin', imagine what giving acts of kindness to somebody else, can really do for that person. You don't know if that person is maybe going through a foreclosure or maybe a divorce or maybe they just got laid off, and you just seeing them as a human and acknowledging them and just doing something for them can truly change their day, if not their life, So again, something to consider when giving out acts of kindness. Number 2, what I found is when you give acts of kindness, it actually not just, can change somebody else, but it can fundamentally change you as a person. I remember, I go to the grocery store a lot, and during these 10 days, I was at another grocery store, and I was standing in line, and normally when I'm waiting to get to the cashier, I'm thinking, oh man, like this is taking too long, like I get really impatient. Or, in the past when I was younger, I would feel a lot of anxiety, just massive anxiety, like, oh, what if I get to the cashier and I just come off as like really anxious, and what if they judge me? And so that would normally be going through my mind, one of those two things or both. But now, during this 10 days, I started to look for opportunities to give to people, and I was seeing the people around me as people, and it's just like actually seeing them. And it was just, it changed me. Like it was changing me. And I remember, I was starting to come more alive during these 10 days. I was feeling happier. I was focusing less on the problems and the worries that I was having on my mind. And just it really showed me that, if you're going through a problem right now, or, you're dealing with something like anxiety or just something that's really eating at you, when you focus on helping somebody else, that can really help, take your mind off whatever problems you have. And it really raises the quality of your life, and this is something I have to keep reminding myself. I hear successful people talk about it. By no means am I an expert on giving, and acts of kindness, but it did really improve the quality of my 10 days. Now, these 10 days, I was still feeling the emotional yo-yos that I've been, battling against all year, but I would say it's been some of the best 10 days, 10-day stretch that I've had in a while, because, I was looking to give, and it was just raising my emotional state and just making me feel better and making me feel more confident and more equipped, and maybe a little bit less of an imposter to be able to put out videos like this and to reach out and tell people, hey, be a hero, be the legend of your story. So again, giving acts of kindness can change you. If not transform you, it can definitely change you. It can help keep your mind off any of the problems or any of the struggles you might be going through right now. Now, the third thing that will happen when you give acts of kindness, maybe the most exciting of all, is sometimes it will come, not even sometimes, it will always come back to you tenfold. Now, when that's going to happen, you can't predict that. I can't predict that, but it will come back many times over. So when I received this box of chocolates from Henry, it reminded me of years ago when I had been working at my first day job out of school. And I was working with a bunch of independent contractors, and part of my job function as the manager was every month we would give what were called scorecard calls, letting them know how they performed in comparison to their peers, and their metrics, their numbers would determine how much business, how much income I sent them. Now, if you're anything like me, and like those independent contractors, I don't like receiving feedback. I'll seek it, but it makes me feel very uncomfortable, if I hear that I fell short of the mark. And I think it would have been really easy for me to default to what most people were doing and would have been doing is, just a really robotic phone call. Hey, here are your numbers, do better next time, okay, bye. But I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that makes me feel really bad. I'm a very empathetic person, I feel. So I knew that they hated these scorecard calls, and I wanted it to be something that they could look forward to. So what I ended up doing was I really stressed that two things. Number one, I really believed in them. And number two, I really cared about them. So I kept on stressing to these independent contractors, and I said, hey, if you're receiving a call from me, it's because I really believe that you have the potential to improve and to get to this income level that you really want to be at. But also it means that I care. I mean, I have so many people that I'm working with. I have a huge team. I only have so many hours in a day, and I have to be really strategic about who I'm working with. So if you are getting this call from me, truly it's because I care, and it's because I see, a lot of potential in you, and I truly believe in you. So I don't know if that made it any easier for them to have these scorecard calls. I don't think it did. But years passed, and I kept on doing this. And a little whiles later, the management ended up changing at this company. Just a lot had changed. The culture started to change, and I was just really unhappy there. So I started looking for other jobs, and I was applying to all these different places. And I personally felt like, I had a lot of value to give. According to my company, I was, one of the top performers. So I was like, I know I have a lot of value to give. It should be pretty easy for me to find another job. I'm not straight out of school anymore. Like, it should be pretty easy. But I ended up applying to all these places, and I wasn't getting interviews. I kept getting rejected, and I was getting rejected from places that, former coworkers had gotten into. And I was like, I know that I'm a harder worker than them, and yet they're getting this job and I'm not. So I just started feeling really down, and I started to self-doubt myself, and I was like, what if I'm stuck here for the rest of my life? And I was just really emotionally low. Well, out of the blue, the CEO from a local company within my same industry reaches out to me. He says, hey, I want to interview you to potentially be my operations manager. So I go to the interview, and I found out from him that a lot of these independent contractors that I had been working with had privately and individually gone to him and said just amazing things about me. And they're like, you need to hire her. And when he told me that, and he gave me the names of the people who did that, I was tearing up. I was so emotional, because I was like, they had my back. I had done so many kind things for them because it was the right thing to do, and I'd done it in private. I wasn't, going out to announce the good things that I was doing, and they had my back. I'm just getting a little bit emotional. And it was because of them that the CEO even knew my name. And there were so many other managers in this company that were, more qualified than I was, that had been at the job than I was. He should have hired so many more people, anybody but me. I wasn't that qualified, I wasn't the most qualified, but he hired me because of what all these people had said to me, and it was because of them that I ended up being able to escape this company and get this job, and eventually, fast forward, be where I'm at right now. So, when you give acts of kindness, like there's so many great things that come out of it. Again, I don't want to come off as like that like gung-ho, like superficial, like, oh, give acts of kindness. Yeah. I know, a lot of times, like at my church, they would talk about, doing these kind things for neighbors and like, bordering stores, and, they're like, who wants to volunteer? And I would never volunteer, because I was like, well, I have a lot of other stuff I need to get done. And it wasn't me, I'm not naturally like, oh, let's go change somebody's life with an act of kindness. Like, I am like, I think most of you guys, like, I want to be in my bubble. I want to work, and I want to be left alone. And if I give an act of kindness, and if it comes up along the way while I'm out and about, great. But, I don't, it's uncomfortable, going out and being kind to people. But, and I'm telling myself this too. I think this message is also for me. But, I encourage you, go out and give acts of kindness. What a better year than this year to be doing that. 2020 has been such a tough year, for me, I think for a lot of you guys out there, especially emotionally. And so when you give these acts of kindness, again, 3 amazing things are going to happen. Number 1, you could potentially be a hero in somebody else's life. Number 2, it fundamentally changes, if not transforms you as a person. It makes you more confident, it makes you happier. If you're especially going through some sort of, struggle or problem, it really helps take your mind off that. And I can't promise that you're gonna, stop thinking about that, or that problem's gonna go away, but I promise you the quality of your life is going to get a lot better. Number 3, when you give acts of kindness, just wait, it's going to return to you tenfold. It's going to start to accumulate when you do this in private, when you do it for the right reasons, not for the recognition. You do it because it's the right thing to do, you know, people are gonna remember, and it's gonna come back to you many times over. So I'm a little bit emotional, but I hope this I hope this helped you guys, and don't forget, be the legend of your story. The world needs you.